This your boy Kemetic Energy, and this is Dirty Mouth Radio. Dirty Mouth Radio, produced by Livewire Sound and Entertainment. We are live from Kemetic Science Institute. Out here, man, we making things happen.
It's your girl Golden.
It's your boy Cray Newt.
Peace. This is Prince.
Yeah, we got a special guest, man. Prince from Kemetic Science Institute. How you doing, brother?
Perfect. I'm doing good. I'm alive. I'm great.
Most definitely, man. We got a banging episode today, man. We got a lot to talk about. How's everybody been? Let's start there.
You know how I've been busy on everything. Just artwork, moving, all kinds of stuff, man. We just got a whole lot of movements going on right now. But the question is, it's not about us, but more so about my man Prince over here, looking cool. I never met you, man. It's my first time meeting you. Nice to meet you, by the way.
It's a pleasure, bro.
It's a beautiful establishment that you got here. How long have you all been in business and over here in this vicinity? Or where are we, as a matter of fact? What area of Charlotte, North Carolina?
Well, basically on the east side. I've been here for a year and some change now. We're still growing. There's still a lot of things that, Kemetic Science want to incorporate in the community. We definitely have to bring, the restaurant. If I'm promoting better health, better eating, then I have to bring you better food.
Oh, you trying to bring the food out there?
I got to bring the food also.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
I got to bring the food also.
Yes.
If you was wearing Jordans and I'm telling you don't wear Jordans, then I have to have an alternative shoe for you.
Right. Exactly.
I got to bring it.
Right.
That's the truth. Dang, oh man. So I've been coming in this store for like 2 months now, and I done show some money in here, man, and it's worth it. It is totally worth it. Every time I come with something new in here, definitely. It's something I leave with a lot of education on something totally new that I never thought I would know coming in.
Yeah.
It's like the vibe here is just unimaginable, honestly. It's like you don't feel like you're even on Earth. You feel like you're in a whole different place. First of all, when you walk through the door and you smell that organic peppermint, you already starting to cry.
Oh, yeah. I was like, bro, what's up with my eyes, bro? Why my eyes feel so tingly? This man over here talking about something, son, you sick. Like, dude, what? But no, the last time I was in here, I did see, like he said, that you all do a lot of teaching in here. And I'm not sure who it was in here that was teaching when I came in here, but what exactly is it that you all kind of teach when you're doing your sessions and stuff like that?
Well, for the most part, I want to be clear that we're not teachers.
Okay.
We're reminders.
Okay.
You have all the answers already inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically we have to reboot that DNA to remember who you used to be and all that information that's been stored in your DNA. So we're just reminders. That's it.
Oh, wow.
That's what's up.
Man, he just dropped it on us. All right, let's get that verbiage right. Without a doubt. So talk. Let's talk to people a little bit who don't know about the peppermint itself when you first walk through the door. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Absolutely. The organic mint it was fumigation, actually. Fumigation is what our ancestors gave us, a part of our culture. And all we're doing in Kemetic Science is bringing the culture back. We're making the culture cool again. And at the same time, well, first and foremost, you survive from your culture. Your culture teaches you how to survive. And this is the reason that we don't know how to survive, because we have no culture. It's a political, social, and economic necessity for us to say that we're not Africans, because then at that point you're going to allow other people to guide you.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And do you see any kind of struggle with an understanding of that here in Charlotte, North Carolina, amongst our people?
Absolutely. We wouldn't be in the condition that we're in if they understood that.
Okay.
So the direct effect of being ignorant is the conditions that we stay in, that we live in on a daily basis. I would say the majority of people don't have no clue, no idea. It's another reality. You don't have to suffer as much.
Okay. And where do you think that necessarily stems from? Do you think it just originates since we in North Carolina and it's so close, like they not too far off from when slavery and all of that stuff was taking place? You got some people who are like my age, I'm 30, who are like my age, whose grandmothers and stuff were slaves. You know, my grandmother wasn't a slave, but you know, my great grandmother was probably a slave. But you know, you got some folks down here whose grand people aren't too far removed from that whole slavery mind state. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, like, you know, the generations that came up behind them, they still kind of in a slave mentality state, and this state actually is kind of operates around that whole, you know, stigma or that whole understanding of like slavery and stuff. You know, you see it a lot when you go into like some of these workplaces and these businesses and stuff. You think it kind of stems from that, with a lot of our people not, you know, mentally being understanding or receptive of what it is that you're trying to remind us of.
Well, let's be candid. We're still slaves. You know, emancipation means transfer. It transferred you from the slave owner, one slave owner to the other, which was a man, to government. So we're still in the same conditions. The same people that came and got you from Africa are the same people that rule you today. It's just been cosmetic changes. That's it. They just changed the people. They just changed the puppet. That's it.
Yeah.
It's still the same puppet master.
Wow. You had a loss for words over there?
No, I'm waiting for you to ask some goddamn questions. I'm chilling.
I'm at a loss for words,
I ain't trying
man.
to do too much talking because I could go on for days, but I'm waiting for, you know.
Man.
I already knew what, you know, was coming.
So this kind of goes into the strictly business aspect, the segment that we have with Dirty Mouth Radio. So we kind of highlight local businesses around the area, talk to them, see what they're about, see how, you know, how they're benefiting the community, which you guys are doing tremendously. What other plans do you guys have? Like, speak a little more about the food that you guys are trying to incorporate.
We're going to incorporate a plant-based diet. We, for the most part, we promote people to stop eating poison on a daily basis because, as we all don't know it, that we eat poison every day and we call it food. So we trying to introduce the culture so you'll know what to eat on a daily basis, and it goes back to the culture. If you don't have a culture, then you don't know that you're eating poison every day. If you don't have a culture, then you don't know how to interact with other people on a daily basis. If you don't have a culture, then you don't know how to dress every day. And those are the things that we all lack. But definitely on the food aspect, food is very important. This is the reason that they give us toxins and poison to eat on a daily basis, and also spray us so we can't think. We don't interact with others the way we should. There's just so many factors that stems from that, you know, being poisoned. We become docile, you know, through the diet. And first and foremost, like I said, once we get this diet, you know what I'm saying, out of the way, then our dreams come back together, our memories come back, our interaction with others become a lot better. And then you will be on the journey to becoming the greatest version of yourself just by cleaning the toxins and poisons out of you. For the most part, you have to realize that we're no more than antennas. We are all antennas. And you have to realize that if you can manipulate the reception on the bunny ears of a TV, you have to know that you are an antenna also. The pyramids around the world are antennas, and they got them from us. We're antennas. So the diet that you have, it tampers with the reception to put out or manifest certain information.
Wow.
And you can't do so if they poisoning you on a daily basis.
So when you mentioning poisoning, I always think about the documentary Hidden Colors. And I believe it was the first one where they talked about the different warfares targeting black people. That they talked about the medical warfare, and they talked about the religious warfare, and there was a couple other ones. But with the medical, I guess the aspect of it, how should we be living? Like, I know pills are bad. A lot of people rely on pills. What do you suggest that we should turn to besides these pills? Because they have a lot of side effects. You watch those commercials, you see all the side effects that they list. It's like 30 seconds. It's like a 4-minute dealing with the actual pill, and then a whole nother 30 seconds talking about the side effects. So what do you recommend that we should take?
Well, let's define some of these words that we're using so we can get to the context of the issues that we're having in the community and our bodies. First and foremost, pharmaceutical, pharma in Greek meaning sorcery. So you should know off the bat that it's not going to be anything good coming from the pharmaceutical companies, from that aspect. But like I said, chemical and biological warfare is ways through your food, air, and water. It's a book over there called The Art of War. And one of the arts of war is to defeat your enemy, but without a shot being fired or a bomb being dropped, is to control his food and water.
Wow, Sun Tzu.
So who controls your food and water? That's who controls you.
Wow. Oh, man. So, okay, with the other aspect, when it comes to the religious warfare, I know it's a delicate topic, talking about religion and talking about spirituality. How do you, I don't even know how to ask the question. Okay, specifically to you, how do you feel about religion and how do you feel about spirituality? Can the two coexist together? Can they not? Why not?
When spirituality became monetized, it became religion. The words in religion, rely. You need something to rely on because you don't know who you are. If you knew you was a God and a goddess, then you won't have to rely on anybody. You'll go into yourself and find all the answers.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Well, speak on it, Sean.
I mean, I do agree with the rely. You do have to rely on God, and I do stand in belief with that. I don't know about individuals being gods and goddesses, but I know there is one God whom I believe in.
Okay.
Do you believe that you're in the image of?
Yes, created an image of.
That's you. It's you too. You are the answers that she created you with. You have. You don't have to rely on nobody else but yourself. If you study yourself and you have a true form of love for yourself, then we'll understand that we are, overstand and understand that we are gods.
That's deep.
Yep.
I don't even know where to go from there.
I mean, religion and spirituality. I mean, it's the way that religion has been constructed and organized, because religion throughout the times it's order. It's built to keep people in a certain type of alignment so that they can operate and cooperate with certain type of ideas and theories and stuff like that. Spirituality is more so a it's more of a personal self thing. Like it deals with something more internally and something separate from this plane of existence itself. You know what I'm saying? Religion is more so of like a surface thing. Like you just basically giving people rules and ideas and concepts and isms, you know what I'm saying, and guidelines to follow through so that you can take a generic belief and just make it worldwide or make it, you know what I'm saying, nationwide or whatever like that.
So you saying like an institution?
I mean, it's an institution for your minds. You know what I'm saying? Like it puts you in a certain mind state where, say if you follow Christianity, like they got, you know what I'm saying, you got the Bible, which is the book, which is basically a rubric for every Christian to follow through. You know what I'm saying? It's basically a generic idea saying like, all these people went through all of these different things and you should follow in Christ so that you don't have to go through, you know what I'm saying, the negative stuff that they went to, or you can find a better place, or you can get to heaven. You know what I'm saying? Basically, they're telling you the only way that you can get to heaven is through a man. You know what I'm saying? Or through a man who they're calling God, but they say that no person is, there's only one God, but then they tell you that God is a holy trinity, and then they tell you that he has many names. So Allah means God, but they'll tell you that Allah is not God. You see what I'm saying?
You saying it's a contradiction with
It's a
some
lot
of
of
the stuff that they say.
contradictions that I've found, like, you know, coming from a Christian background. It's a lot of contradiction that you find in not just Christianity, but in a lot of different religions and stuff like that. You know, going through and studying your history about like how Christianity started and the Crusades and how they adopted Christianity through a king's affiliation, you know what I'm saying, and then transforming it and then implementing it to the society. So, you know what I'm saying? It's basically like a trend, you know what I'm saying, that somebody accepted and made his people adopt or accept. You know what I'm saying? Christianity it doesn't come from a healthy environment, you know what I'm saying? It was always ground rooted in some type of like fluctuation between the rich and the poor, you know what I'm saying?
And control.
Yeah. And to some extent, you know, I know a lot of Christians and, you know, religious people don't, you know, like when you talk about their religion, but to some certain extent, Muslim, it kind of, you know what I'm saying, is kind of interceding into that type of, you know what I'm saying, path as well.
Yeah, it is.
In certain areas, you know what I'm
But
saying.
if you do the
with
research, it was created.
you know what I'm saying? So like, if anything that you can create, anything that you can create, like a belief, you know what I'm saying? It's like you gotta look into that and like be like, okay, like, dude, where did this really come from?
I always said you gotta kind of. I always kind of make this example. When you were in school and you learned a math problem this way, and you get to the next grade, they say no, you got to do it this way.
Or you get to college and they be like, abolish all of those ideas completely.
Yeah, it's like you gotta. I always say you gotta test what you've been taught growing up. That's kind of how I've always looked at things. Kind of when I guess probably my sophomore year of college, I started taking a seat back, and I just said, you know what? There's a lot of stuff that I've been taught growing up, but I never really did the research to trust and verify if it was actually accurate. And that's when my mindset kind of shifted. You know, I think a lot of people, they kind of get nervous to actually do that because they're like, okay, this is what I was taught. I'm not going to go through anything else. This is what I got to do.
But that's because we've been trapped with the idea that if you believe against this or if you try to test against it, you will go to hell.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And hell is also something that the church, you know what I'm saying, established to put fear into people so that, you know what I'm saying, so they won't do wrong.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, not when you think about like trying to stop people from doing wrong, it's not such a bad thing, but at the same time, it's like,
I mean, at the bottom line of Christianity is teaching about love. So I mean,
in some churches they don't agree. They believe that the bottom line of Christianity is teaching about Jesus Christ. That's
which is love.
And if let me say this, if you have certain people that haven't ever given you anything except for detriment, they gave you Christianity. So you have to look at the context of it. When they came, you think that we had this in Africa, the demographics of Africa. You think we had religion, we had Christianity when they came and got us from Africa. So basically when they came, they gave you the Bible and they took the land. And if it was so loving and great, and I'm not trying to bash, you know what I'm saying, I'm just speaking with, you know,
right.
I would say deep, you know what I'm saying, going into researching this, you have to look at the history. You have to look at, you know, the patterns. Christianity been around for a long time. Why is our circumstances worse? They've been around for a long time, but it's still worse than what it was, you know, when they came and got us.
Yeah, so, but they are not practicing what they are basically preaching or, you know, trying to impose on other people. They're not practicing it. So
see, then you ask the question that why churches tax exempt and all of us are not. What kind of benefits why do they get benefits like not being taxed? Because they have a blueprint to follow. They don't teach you the context of what's going on in the community. They don't, if they really, they know exactly the problems that we're having, but they cannot tell you. First and foremost, you have the church, and you go into church, and then afterwards they feed you poison. So that's a red flag right there. Like knowing that the temple, is valuable and sophisticated, then you can't receive information accordingly if your antenna is not functioning properly. So why would these people who love you so much give you, and you telling me after all this time they hadn't figured out that we eat poison? Do they, promote better health and living and give you the exact things that you need to do in the church, first and foremost, to be able to receive this information?
As far as that is concerned, it just depends on what your definition of health and wellness. Now that I can only speak from where I go, they do have, forums, and they have people come out to do health checks for you, check your blood pressure, direct you to who you need to see if you having a certain problem or whatever. But
it's proactive. We have to be proactive instead of reactive. A lot of times we're sick, and then that's when we want to, do what we're supposed to do. Who is preventing these things from happening to us instead of making money off of our sickness? Who's preventing it? Who's helping? Who's really getting to the context of why we're acting this way, or why we're even sitting in church? Because for the most part, church promotes that you can sin, and just as long as you come here, and I'll wipe away your sins. And
I don't agree with that.
So let me put this ATM machine in here.
Now that depends on which church you go to.
I have it for free. You know what I mean? Yeah. People come in here, and I'm going to give you the context of what you need for free.
So my question is, so with me, I grew up in the church. I've said it before on the podcast. My grandmother's a pastor, yada, 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 yada. But what would you recommend for somebody to actually read, like to actually start seeing the other side? For somebody that's had the church ingrained in them growing up, what would you recommend they start doing besides, research wise, to actually start looking at the spirituality aspect of things?
The elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is you. Start studying yourself. And it's going to give you every answer on this planet that you need.
Yes.
Okay.
Every answer that you need answered is studying yourself.
Wow.
Loving yourself unconditionally. And knowing that what we do every day is hate for ourselves. Okay? If you watch people on a daily basis, that's hate. But if you don't know any better, then you're going to go along with the masses, and you're going to say that's love.
That's word.
Yeah, that's true.
That's word. I mean, like, you're right. I mean, like, when it comes to studying, like, you do have to study. You have to study yourself, study things, because when you brought up, the only thing that you studying is what you're being taught. You know what I'm saying? As a child, you don't know any better coming into the world. You know what I'm saying? Only thing you know is what your parents teach you. And if they don't know anything, you know what I'm saying? All you got to learn from is their bad habits, and then everybody else around you, and then now the television, and then social media, and then you grow up to find that everybody around you is trying to kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? So then you sitting in the room thinking that the only pathway away from the struggle and the grind and the hurting and the diseases and all everybody struggling is suicide. You know what I'm saying? So even if you don't want to kill yourself directly, you involuntarily kill yourself with the type of decisions that you make, as far as like snorting dope, or being out on the corner on the block all night not doing nothing positive with with your time, or buying from people who are killing your people, funding their murder, their
Them
mass
damn
slavery.
Popeyes sandwiches, man.
That's true.
Eating flesh and drinking blood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's
true. That's true.
And these become habits, and they hard to break.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All habits die hard. Like bad habits die hard. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And it gets even more crazy because in our society, it's like almost every single thing that you buying off of these shelves is infused with poison.
It's poison.
You know what I'm saying?
We're
Like,
surrounded by poison. We
right.
soaking in poison.
Right.
And you get back to the psychological aspect of it. Who we being taught by has been psychologically tormented.
Yes.
So we're learning from psychologically tormented people. It's the blind leading the blind.
Wow.
And they living in fear. You know what I'm saying? They're too afraid to step outside of their religion and go check and see what, these books and these scripts, these ancient scripts is talking about. People don't even want to travel to their native lands and stuff because they too afraid of their own people and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, bro.
You think it's because society is the one? I mean, well, it's a proven fact that society is perpetuating the stuff we need to look into as bad. People say voodoo is just crazy, just bad.
Well,
but
people say black is bad, and black
Yeah.
surrounds this whole entire freaking world.
yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
can black be bad, bro? You literally, things literally grow in darkness. The people think that things grow during the day. No, they get a certain type of nutrients from the sun, but things really grow at night. Grass, all of that stuff, bro. You just don't see it. You know what I'm saying? So like people don't understand. Like yo, light and dark, they kind of go hand in hand. Like you can't just have one without the other. So I don't understand what the battle is. It's the yin and yang thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if we just went with the natural flow, maybe things would be a heck of a lot better. But they don't want things to be better, bro, because it's a control thing.
Yeah.
And as long as you got somebody dominating, it's always going to be somebody who got to pick up the slack. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the feud, you know what I'm saying?
So
it
for
grows.
you, Craig, when did you start actually looking at the spiritual side of things?
Spiritually?
Yeah, like
Bro.
like when did you start unlearning what you were
it's
taught,
not-
or
bro, I won't even say like unlearning, because like for me, I feel like everything has a connection to one another. Like you can't just be saying I'm gonna learn all about my ancestors, you know what I'm saying, but you don't know nothing about nothing else that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because the stuff that's going on right now derived from your you know what I'm saying, your ancestors.
yeah.
So you gotta know a little. I feel like we shouldn't just be closing our minds and being like, I'm just gonna close myself off, because that's when you start sleeping in a box, and that's all you
like
know.
having blinders on.
You know what I'm saying?
But I feel like it's one thing to have knowledge, but it's another to have wisdom. So you can accumulate as much knowledge as you want, but are you gleaning wisdom?
I mean, I feel like, as the older I get, the more wisdom I acquire. I ain't saying I got all of it. I'm just saying, like, as all of us, we always learn. Like, we are learning.
You're a student to transition.
Exactly.
Wisdom is your experience.
Yes. Most definitely.
Wisdom is experience, but the problem that we have first and foremost in the community is that it's a lot of us that's very intelligent and smart. But the difference is, to take it to another level, well, can you apply that intelligence and smartness to make your circumstances better?
I like this dude right here. I like this.
I
dude
do
right
agree
here.
with that.
Yeah.
I like this guy right here.
You gotta know how to apply that information to make your circumstances better.
Exactly.
You can all day long talk about Anubis, and you can talk about being gods and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, if you don't know what these gods have left us to make our circumstances better today, then it's useless.
Right.
It's utterly useless.
Because I mean, like, yeah, you're right. Like, knowledge is one thing to have knowledge. Is another thing to have wisdom. Knowledge will tell you about the chemicals in a substance. You know what I'm saying? But wisdom tells you how to use those chemicals
Yeah.
for a better good for your people and for your family. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. That's that's kind of. But people think that just because somebody's knowledgeable, they more wise than everybody in the
Right.
room and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what the higher society wants you to believe, because they can attain and pay for, or they feel like they can pay for the knowledge that they, you know what I'm saying, the higher knowledge that they're getting. They're going to these higher colleges where they get more books and more access, better access to more resources. When we go to school, public school, what kind of resources did you have? Did you have a computer in every classroom? No. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
Were you going on trips to Greece, to Dubai, Paris, Egypt, Africa? Were you taking those trips? Because the last place I remember going to was the White House.
And
who built that? You know what I'm saying? Who built that? But
The
they
slaves.
won't tell you who built the
Yeah,
joint.
exactly.
They telling you about the Oval Room. They telling you about what President Nixon and all them Bammers did up in there. But they not telling you about the roots. Like, yo, blacks came to this country. They did this, boom, bam, bip. This happened in this century. This happened in it. You know, they don't tell you about none of that, bro.
Because if they did, that would be empowering you. They don't want to empower you.
Exactly.
Shoot, I'm from DC. I still ain't been to the White House. I still ain't
Bruh.
been
Another thing.
Bruh.
We don't, and that's another thing. Like, our people don't.
there.
We don't. That the resources and stuff. We don't take the opportunities to like participate in our own resources and stuff. So we miss out on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, we have to understand the system and how it's designed. It doesn't benefit you in no type of way whatsoever. Even when going to school, you're going to school to learn in the best interest of other people and how to solve their problems. So regardless if you go to college or not, you're still being indoctrinated European-wise. That's for
Can we
colleges
put
too.
this man in front of 40 million people behind a podium, please? Somebody get this man a podium.
We're being, Europeanized, indoctrinated, even with the colleges, because if you look at it, you have these classes, biologists, you have chemists and all this stuff, and we go to, and we have Africans that go into those classes and perfect those classes, but at the end of the day, are those same Africans coming out and testing our water in our communities?
Right.
They're not. They're working in the best interest of other people.
Right.
They can't work for us. They're going to the schools to work in the best interest for others. Okay? The library is free. You go to the library and learn as much as you would like, and not being, directed in a certain area, a certain way. An expert, we promote. You don't have to be an expert. Being an expert takes away from other information that you could be learning. Let's look at it like, let's learn a little bit of everything.
Right.
We have to learn a little bit of everything, and then that way we can analyze the situation a lot better. So if you have one person that's an expert, he don't know a lot about a lot of other things.
Right.
So he's crippled.
In a box.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's real. That's real right there.
So, okay, going back to the store itself, where did the idea come from to establish Kemetic Science Institute? Was it just you? Who played a role in this? And
Suffering.
Okay.
And everybody do suffer, just like I do.
Yeah.
Going through things over the years, and suffering, and then I figured, it's got to be another way. The last thing that did it for me was, I wasn't able to be a part of my child's life for no reason at all. So that hit me with like a bag of bricks. And I like to let the people know, in order to destroy a man or a woman and keep them alive at the same time, is to sever the ties with their offspring. So once that happened, that sent me to my room for years. I went to my room for at least, maybe 7 years, just reading. And then once I went in the room, I realized my dysfunction. And once I realized my dysfunction, then I realized that everybody was a reflection of me. And everybody was sick around me. And so in order to get to the context of helping the community, I had to come in with the Save the Babies movement. Because the Save the Babies movement is a lifestyle actually that gives us a chance, or give the babies also a chance to have a different, a better, a more pleasant reality than what we had. And the only reason that we on this planet is to reproduce and to give this planet and the babies a chance by giving them the correct information. So saving babies is pretty much changing the detrimental mindset of the parents that's teaching the babies. If you want to create a new world for the babies, you have to use the babies as the paintbrushes and create the world with them. So, you know, just I didn't really know what love was until, you know, my son came. So I was able to look at reality totally different than I used to. And it's a disservice to these kids that, you know, we can look them into their eyes and know that we brought them to this spiritual wasteland of New York and not giving them the tools to survive.
I wish I could just press a daggone explosion button right now. I just want to just
mic drop.
Press that joint. Like, hold up, bro. Let me press this button real quick. Nah, but that's real.
But that's my journey. That's what led me here. I've interacted with a lot of master teachers. I went to King Carew out of Columbia, South Carolina, starting this process, and he enlightened me on so many things. And at that point, then I knew what I wanted to do. I'm willing to sacrifice so much to make sure babies are able to thrive in this world and be able to have this so much better reality than what we had, a much more pleasant reality than we had, and there's no other way. There's no other way to do this. There's no other way.
So what other, for the people that don't know, what else goes on here in the store? It's not, I'm gonna tell you from my experience, coming in here is not your typical place. You know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in these four walls. So it's your chance to let them know what you guys do.
It's a safe haven. First and foremost, it's a safe haven for you to come out the chaos. So pretty much I call this place the eye of a hurricane. There's so much stuff going on the outside. You can come in here and reboot. This is definitely a platform for you and your businesses, as you know, collaborating with other businesses to come in here and use this platform to become the greatest version of yourself and help your people to elevate.
Man, where do you guys see this place in like the next 5 years?
I see it as being a mall with nothing but black businesses.
Oh wow,
That's
that'd be
dope.
nice. Yeah,
Nothing but black businesses in there. Fruits, produce, natural salons and barbers, whatever it may be that we need for the community, it will be in this mall.
Okay, yeah, I rock with it.
Now you speak a lot about like food and produce. For a lot of listeners and people out there who are looking for safe places that they can buy their produce and buy their food, what type of places would you suggest to them to go?
At the moment, well, I would recommend you grow your own food, and I would recommend you grow your own food underground. And if you're going to get the fruits and vegetables with the minerals that your body requires to function accordingly, it'll be growing them underground. But the second best thing is to, you know, other melanated people who grow them, just bring them to this a certain place. I got people right now that I'm just trying to do one thing at a time. That's coming with the fruits and vegetables. So I'm going to also have a platform for that also. But yeah, if you can do it yourself, because at the end of the day, we promote in here that you are your own doctor, you are your own farmer. You are your own dentist. You are your own teacher. When you go to other people for those things, they're going to destroy you.
Valid.
Yeah, that's deep. You got anything to say? What's up, Golden?
I think
I love you, Goldie.
I think Golden just being reminded right now. Like, oh snap! All right, well,
God,
wait,
quiet over there,
when
man.
you put it like that, and the brother's so cool, you just ain't got a choice but to just be like,
she over there
"Yeah,
standing
bro, I
by,
feel
right?
right.
Yeah, I mean, but that's important, man. The food thing is a very very big thing right now in everybody's culture. Well, I mean, predominantly our culture, because we seem to be the only ones out here eating pork and chicken necks and cow feet. When I heard somebody was talking about they tried cow tongue,
Yeah.
And they
That's
enjoy the
weird.
aches and pains after
And
it
they
also.
enjoy
They would
it.
sacrifice it, you know what I'm saying? They
Mhm.
would, for that taste, you know, they would sacrifice the ache and pain.
Oh, nah.
I'm like, bro, you eating leftovers, like you're not even eating a good part of the animal. You eating,
But Chester,
eating
you
the part
y'all-
that they used to
but
eat.
you acting like we're the only people
I'm-
that
I'm-
eating this type of way.
Yes, you're right. We're not the only people.
Thank
but
you.
Since we are our people, we gotta look out for them.
And the only reason why we're eating that is because that was the only food that we could get when we were slaves, and we had to perfect it and make it taste good.
Right?
Right.
You're right, but also they taught us that those types of food was the food to eat.
The plantation plate.
Right.
Well, I
right.
mean,
they, can't
I
give-
don't-
they couldn't give you no information
Yeah.
on what food to eat. They just had to give you the scraps. As a matter of
Right.
fact, in the soul food is, you know, basically the same food. The soul food that we eat now is the same slave food.
I mean, I'm looking at it differently. Is the food may not be the best for you, but it was all that they had at the time, and they didn't have to have that food. That's the food that the masters chose to give us, was the scraps, and they knew that there was better food because they seen that masters eating better food. Matter of fact, we was preparing better food for them.
That's because it came from our country. Like, I mean, it's. I mean, I get what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but like in today's era in society, it's really no excuse for us to be still eating that stuff. Like, it's so much. Even they talking about and coming out with documentaries like, "Yo, this stuff is not healthy, guys." You know what I'm saying?
But
But
they're
if
the
you
ones
look at
that's
if you
doing
look
it.
at it like this, if you had most people who eat the way they eat, they will say that they're not Africans. So once you claim, you know, your culture, then you will know what to eat. So a majority of people who, you know, claim to be otherwise, those are the people that, you know, they're going to eat the poison, you know, and say it's good.
It's a mental thing.
It's all it's a psychological covert warfare. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
it's not even covert no more.
Yeah.
It's in your face, and you know.
It's
Matter of
overt,
fact,
definitely.
just your body. And this is what we go back to knowing the body. Your body tells you every day that you eat poison, from a headache, from hypertension, from high blood pressure, from dry skin, from dry scalp, from bald head to gray hairs. That's your body that's telling you on a daily basis. That's
all the stuff that's
Yeah.
on them
Yeah,
pill
you-
bottles.
Yeah.
and your
Yeah.
body is telling you that on a daily basis, but you have no culture, so you have no measurement of what to look for or how you're supposed to function. Because the actors and the musicians are on TV and they're just as sick, but you see them, you like, okay, they same way, so I'm cool.
And you're just seeing the surface of it. You're not really looking too deep into it, and they're not showing you that. Pretty deep, man. Yeah.
I just find that like one of the most important, because like when you do start, when you start eating healthy, man, it changes your whole psychological, like
Yeah.
mental, like you waking up at
Yeah.
times and you're not even tired.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can do more, like your day feels a lot more open. You're not dried out and just wasted energy, you know what I'm saying? And that whole depressive mind state and all of that stuff, man, I think that's a lot of that stuff stems from that dead meat, you know what I'm saying? It's said that when you kill an animal, some type of
The spirit.
something from the heart go. It's not just even the spiritual. It's like more of a physical thing too. The heart produces some type of toxin into the meat instantaneously.
Adrenaline.
Adrenaline, and it makes the meat. It paralyzes or petrifies. Something it does to the meat, and it becomes toxic. So if you cook it, because if you know what I'm saying, that whole period between it being dead or dying, sitting, and then being transported for being, you know what I'm saying, cleaning or whatever, and then being cooked, that poison is just seeping deeper into that meat.
So you're saying between the slaughtering and the
right, and then some of these animals, they don't even like they mutilate these animals.
Yeah.
And these animals are just literally going into like shock.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff is just going into their body, and then we just ingesting death. You know what I'm saying? Like we are eating death. You know what I'm saying?
And you cook meat for the purpose of softening it up so you can eat it. So where's the stove that was dropped when the creator, you know? Where's the stove that, you know? It's a lot of things that if we just pay attention to, then all the answers will be, you know, answered just like that. And that goes back to like studying yourself. If you know yourself, then you would know your body has been rejecting this stuff for a long time. It's no such thing as lactose intolerant. That's your body telling you, don't put that back inside of me. Your headache, just like an ambulance has a siren and moves people out the way, your body's alarm system is the headache. And it's telling you. So if you have a headache, just go back to what you ate that day.
That's real.
And it's going to tell you. Exactly. Your body tells you every day. It's a sophisticated machine. You are, you know what I'm saying, the Bugatti that you're searching for. You are the mansion that you're searching for. You are the gold bars that you're searching for. You are the diamonds that you're searching for. All those things. So I just, you know, try to remind people that if you have a Bugatti, then use premium gasoline in your Bugatti instead of unleaded.
That's dope. You put that on the shirt. That's dope.
You have to. And in another way, you have to realize that somebody has taken over the steering wheel of your vehicle and then driving you off a cliff. So you have to take back control of the steering wheel and get back on the road to where you're supposed to be, becoming the greatest version of yourself. Should be the only thing that you should be interested in this lifetime, becoming the greatest version of yourself.
This man's dropping gems all over the place.
Gems, diamonds, sapphires. Nah, it's real.
Oh man. So I don't know. It's just so much to talk about. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, just looking around the story itself is just all over the place. It's just valuable pieces of information.
And you know, it's a good thing too. I got people that's, you know, that join with me perfect. I got Maria that is exceptional in what she do in spirituality. In Black, he's he records. He's a photographer and he records everything for us. In you know, Dr. Hill, you just have a cast of people that are relentless to making sure that we do our part and walk in our godly footsteps before we make transition or ascend to better places. To make sure we don't come back to the spiritual wasteland of New York.
Yeah. And you guys got a documentary coming up? I kind of just heard it, you know.
You dropped something that he probably wasn't even.
Maybe I did. I'm sorry. My bad.
Absolutely,
I'm looking forward to it.
He's so excited. He just gave up the goods. That's why you can't.
My bad.
Right.
You got me feeling bad. You got me feeling bad, man.
And that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? We have to promote and let people know that we definitely have a documentary, you know what I'm saying, coming out. And we're going to continue to have documentaries also that's hitting the context. We're not going to treat symptoms. This is not a store that treats symptoms. We treat the context of the issues. And that's the difference. And that's the difference in this store and other stores around.
Yeah.
If we're not doing nothing in the community, don't bring your money here. Hold other Black businesses accountable for where the money is being put.
Exactly. Yeah. Without a doubt.
That's another thing.
It's one thing that you saying that you supporting a Black business, but you have to also look at what they're doing in the community. You know, do they got a yacht?
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
you know, do they leave and get in their Maserati? Are they, what are they doing? Look, action. You know, the truth is in people's actions,
Mhm.
and that's what I tell people for the most part. If you want to know truth, then just watch our actions.
Mm.
That's it.
That's real talk.
Yeah, because we spend a lot of time putting a lot of money into things that's just against us, like completely, like
Mhm.
shoes, clothes, like these clothes and these shoes, like between, what is it, Tommy Hilfiger and Gucci and all of these other
Timberland,
products
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like
And
these
that's
people don't
true.
even recognize us as human beings most of the
Yeah.
time.
And you know, to piggyback off what you're saying, they used to take the hot iron and brand you on your back. So now this day you pay for your brand
Mm-hmm.
to be put on, so they know exactly who their servants are.
Mm.
And that goes into that whole Black Friday thing. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, you got our own people going crazy about, you know, oh, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get these deals for Black Friday. Like, yo, at one point in time, you was the deal.
Yeah, exactly. That is
We've
the
been
truth.
we've
Still, you
definitely
know what
been
I'm
made
saying?
into consumers.
Yes.
Right.
That's why the radio, always has to have the commercials. Matter of fact, let me tell you a story real fast. You have certain people that that control these societies and control. Well, society starts in our mind. So what they've done, they've gone out and purchased storage units and storage facilities. And they purchase these storage facilities because they know that you've been programmed to buy, and so you purchase so much unconsciously that you don't have no place to put it.
Mm.
So these storage
Dang.
facilities are taking in your items
Wow.
that you have no place to put it because you've been programmed, because you listen to the radio all day and you listen to the commercials. So you have to go purchase items to make you feel better.
They studying us more than we studying ourselves, right?
That's the truth.
They have to, in order for us to be in this condition that we
Yeah,
in
they got to.
psychologically. They definitely, study it.
It's
more.
crazy because you look at some of these statistics and how they plot out the year, how they gonna sell and make moves, and they got all the demographics pretty much set out. Like, okay, we're gonna do like because of these numbers last year, we're projected to do this amount this year because the black folks are just going ham on this stuff.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yo, like,
Yeah.
what?
Right.
They control
You
what
know
you
what I'm
wear
saying?
every day.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
And
not your idea what you want to wear.
Right.
They control what you eat.
Yeah.
They put in your mind what you're going to eat. They put in your mind what you're going to wear. They want you to wear skinny jeans, then you definitely going to wear skinny jeans, And we think we have a choice. So if you look at it like this, when you go to a red box and you want to choose those movies were already chosen for you.
Man, that's true.
They give you the
Yeah.
selection that they chose from already, and you think you
Mhm.
have a choice, and that's gonna direct you to a certain direction of a mindset that they want. They've already decided 30 years ago what you're doing today.
Yeah.
So what you're doing today has already been decided.
Dang,
That's real. That's real.
So you would say with that, it starts with self to break it to break out of that.
It definitely starts. It don't start with anybody else. That's what they did. They started with the self. This is how they created the vehicle.
Yeah.
This is how they created the house. The frame of the house is the rib cage. This is how they created everything. The computer comes from your mindset functioning at 100% brain capacity. Now you're down to 10. So we should be at least spending a lot of time finding out where is the other 90% of our brain capacity. This is why we can, this is why we're docile. This is the reason that we can be shot in the street and then we back in the club 2 weeks later. But at the end of the day, let's get back to studying ourselves. Like I said, it will give you every answer that you need. Of course, books are good, but you have to go back to intuition and study yourself, because then you have to ask who owned the press that printed the books.
Yeah.
And it's okay to read the books, but also you have to match it with your intuition.
Okay.
Right.
I do agree
That
with
goes
that.
back to who was that? Martin Luther and the printing press. That whole during that time period.
And also just remember now,
Mhm.
the same people that came and got you from Africa are the same people that control you today. The same people.
Yep.
So when you lose a war, you have to give up your blueprints.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you give up your blueprints, and now you're trying to figure out why they talking about their kings, because you are in a jail cell.
Right.
And
Yep.
when you're in a jail cell, that means they're going to give you the books they want you to read. They're going to slide the books through the jail bars that they want you to have. So don't think that, this is free will and you have all the books that you want. No, those are the books that were given to you. So you have to match it with your intuition and analyze the situation a lot better that way.
And that's a good point, because when I was coming up, my teacher, or our teachers, because I was born 88. So, that whole 90s period, everybody was about the SATs and all of that stuff. They wanted us to get our SAT scores up. So when we was coming up, it was all about reading is fundamental, reading is this, reading is that. But the key thing was, and that we never really got, was what to read. You know what I'm saying? They tell you that reading is important. You need to read. You need to read.
Yeah.
But they ain't telling you what to read, because they don't even really know, for real.
Yeah.
That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying? They telling you that, okay, because the school system goes by, they have a what's it called?
A curriculum.
A curriculum.
Yeah.
And that curriculum is passed down from their headquarters or their board of educations or whatever, that they want to make public schools and these children learn and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So we, like you said, it's that form of control. Like, yeah, tell your kids to read, tell them to read. You know what I'm saying? But we not about to put these Black history books in there. We not about to put these books from ancient ancestors of Egypt, or you know what I'm saying, all these historical books and stuff, or these scripts and manuscripts. We ain't about to, you know what I'm saying? They don't even allow people to like really study Christianity in these public schools no more, because they want it to be so watered down and like mainstream. You see what I'm saying? So like when I was coming up, it was just like reading. So I mean, what we was reading, like when we started reading about Columbus and like all that, I was already turned away. Because I'm like, I can't, that whole segment of time with the colonies and all that, I can't stand that part of history. I really don't really like. And
I got into it with somebody over that one time, and I wasn't even trying to. They were just talking about the whole Columbus thing, and I tried to just give them another side to it. I was like, "Did you ever really like? Where did you learn that?" He was like, "Yeah, I learned that in school. Columbus saved the ocean blue and whatever the year was." I'm like, I was like, but do you think he knew where he was going? Yeah, he knew where he was going. He was going over here. I was like, but he wasn't even trying to get here.
Right.
And then when I kept just saying little things, and as he's saying all this, I'm literally just reading the book. And I'm kind of not even giving him all my attention, but I'm just trying to give him these questions, and he started getting crazy mad. I was like, dude, I'm not.
Because he has to defend the system.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been trained to defend the system the way it is, unconsciously.
And the sad part about it, he looked just like me.
That's right.
And that's the part that really got me. I was like, you know what?
And like what Justin was saying, as far as the curriculum that the school teaches, it just all depends on how you were raised. Like I was raised that outside of school, I had a whole different set of learning.
Right.
Like my mom was taking me to the library and teaching me about Black history and ancient Egypt and different stuff like that. So when I came to school, I'm like, yo, why we not learning this? Oh, they're like, oh, well, we not teaching that. I'm like, okay.
That was my grandmother. My grandmother was a very educated woman. She's a teacher as well, and she taught in public school for like almost 35 years.
Yeah, my grandma was a teacher too.
But my high school, my last couple years in high school, I was homeschooled like my last 2 years, and she was the one running the whole program. So she brought all that Nazi stuff, all the Black history stuff. Like, she brought stuff from all over the world and just downloaded it into my brain. You know what I'm saying? When like we was up in the schools and I was just rebellious against the logic that they was trying to infuse inside of me. It just wasn't applying, because I'm not of that element. You know what I'm saying? It's not of my element. You know what I'm saying? Like naturally, I just want to rebel because I always see things, you know what I'm saying, more than what they are. And they just want you to like, no, this is math, this is how it is, this is how it's supposed to go. I'm like, why? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, why does it have to be done this way? Like, no, it's just how it is. That's just how it is. Don't even ask questions. And that's just how they want you to think. They don't want you to ask
in the
questions.
curriculum of the schools, like who does those curriculums benefit? So if you had parents that were really interested in, what their child was learning, then you will find out, like, what is the curriculum and how does this curriculum benefit my child?
Right, and then
and speak to this principal and find out what's his principles.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. That's true too.
Exactly.
And then the whole system of school is designed for us to be workers. That with the bell system, the schedule,
And dumb you down.
how everything is just neat. You got your little locker. This way you're gonna put your stuff so that when you graduate, you go into a job.
Right.
It's not set up for you to do
Right.
anything
They ain't
else.
teaching
Prison
you
I was
pipeline.
going to say, the
Right.
same
Prison
thing.
pipeline. I mean, if you look at the school, it resembles, getting you set for prison.
Exactly.
Putting you in a single file line.
Yeah.
Always
Exactly.
having the AC on, kind of cold.
Right.
The lights beaming on you. It's just so many different factors. And the
Uniforms.
same distributors of the prisons is the same distributors of public schools. So you have to look into this stuff and realize that you cannot send your babies to other people and expect for them to teach your baby how to solve problems. It's not going to happen. And this is why we are going in circles and don't know what to do.
Right.
You send your kids to school so you can go to work and go purchase things that they don't need.
Exactly.
When at the end of the day, they can stay with you all day and learn real information, that they need to know. Instead of being dumbed down. That's what school does. It dumbs you down. We are already advanced when we come through the triple black darkness of our mom's womb. We are already advanced. These people study to the point where they have to slow you down once you get to school.
So they have to study how to make you dumb.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's deep.
That is really deep. That is some deep stuff, man. The school, I mean, you get to college and you learn certain stuff. Like, I went to college. Most of us at this table, we went to college. You get to college and then they just kind of I went to a HBCU, so it was a little different than some of those traditional colleges out there. A lot more ideas and lessons were coming across your way. But it's just crazy how you can transition from just learning one box and then going to college and they being like, what, who taught you this? You know what I'm saying? And it just blows your mind. You're like, no, this is how it's supposed to do. Teacher blah 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 in the second grade taught me this, and they like, yo, like, no, like, this is not how you speak this language. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is not how you write and read, and you're not even articulate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you speaking gibberish. You know what I'm saying? You speaking the language that the Europeans were speaking when they came to America. You know what I'm saying?
And are you English?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They telling you that this is English, but they speaking it properly. Like, we don't even use the letters right. We using the letters the most incorrect way. Like the letter R ain't even supposed to be R. That ain't how you supposed to say it. Everybody in the around the whole entire world pretty much rolls their R's. You know what I'm saying? So that's right there should tell you, like, even when we spelling words, you got 4 or 5 different ways to spell one word.
That's right, and you define it in a few different ways too. That's the enslavement. Your language is your enslavement. So just think about the key that you need to get out. The jail cell is the problem.
Right. Your communication.
Right, communication. This is a
I don't even think
frequency.
some people got that.
Yeah.
This is a frequency lowering language that we speak. Every alphabet is cursed. So it don't matter what as you grew up and they say don't say cuss words. Well, that don't matter,
Right.
because every word that comes out your mouth pretty much is cursed, because every alphabet has been cursed. So the alphabet has to make a word.
That's why they call it cursive.
That's right. That's right.
But it's real life.
Your language is your enslavement, and the money that we use every day is our enslavement.
Yeah.
So those things have to change. But at least we have to start somewhere, enlightening the people and reminding the people about the simple stuff, and then we can go from there. Because they have no idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No idea.
Sure. honestly, all of us are a little low on ideas these days. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to flex. I don't know everything. I'm still learning. Just sitting here with you, it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
It's a lot of things that I've picked up, and I'm going to start, that's going to help me implement, what I'm trying to do in my own
And
life.
I learned from you, and I learned from all of y'all today. And it's a form of recycling information.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to take this information and give it to the people who come in here.
Appreciate it, brother.
And expecting people to go out and they save the people, around them also.
Yeah.
Because like we said, we're students into transition.
Mm-hmm.
I see everybody eye to eye. I
Right.
never look down at nobody. I'm looking at you eye to eye. And that's the way it should be.
It should be like that, brother, but it's very, very difficult, especially when you work it in, the type of field. I mean, anybody's field, really, because you work with certain people and they have their certain understanding of what your culture is, and then they have a certain level of expectation of how you gonna react based off of what they see. You know what I'm saying? Then they kind of treat you like that, or they kind of hesitant to approach you. They want to say certain stuff to kind of feel you out. So they throw in these little jokes, you know what I'm saying, to like gauge how you respond, and then based off of that,
But when you give them a reaction that they don't expect, they can't say nothing.
Right, but that goes back to that whole seeing eye to eye thing. Like it's like sometimes you want to see eye to eye, but then it's like all of that pre-conversation. You know what I'm saying? The pre-conversation.
Yeah.
I'm pointing to my eyes, everybody. The pre-conversation and what you build in your mind before you even get to that person to even make contact and communicate with that person, you didn't already establish who that person is. So you ain't even trying to figure out who they are, because you already got in your mind who they are.
You got a preconceived
When
notion.
when you know who you are, your energy gonna cut through them like butter. When you come to different places and stuff like that, and you know exactly who you are, they will spread out the way.
Wow.
They're gonna move out your way. Just energy, and that's what you're speaking about. The energy of it, without a word even spoken.
Right. That's dope.
Dang on.
That's dope. I like this guy. Can I come back here, bro?
You're welcome back here anytime. Anytime
right.
y'all are welcome here. Definitely.
Man, this.
I appreciate y'all even coming and giving me an opportunity, giving me y'all platform to be able to speak.
Yeah, without a
Man,
doubt.
appreciate
we
that.
appreciate you giving us an opportunity to allow you to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
We appreciate it. To speak
Definitely.
on us, speak on our platform and try to broadcast it to a larger base who don't really know, what needs to be. Because, people listen to our show, and I think sometimes they get caught up in like a little bit of the silliness that they don't really understand the underlying meaning. That's what the whole logo Dirty Mouth is. It's the clean teeth up top and the dirty mouth teeth at the bottom, because you rarely see the underbelly of people's mouth. You always see the top of their teeth, you know what I'm saying, when they're smiling. But it's when you pull that lip down, when you start seeing the grittiness and where everything sits. Because when you eat, you don't eat with the top of your mouth, you eat with the bottom, and that's where the food sits.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, under the tongue and all in that, and you don't see that much.
Yeah, you don't bite down.
Right.
Yeah.
So our whole logo, I don't know if you've seen it yet or not, but it is just lips with a female, and the teeth is clean up top, and it's just grimy at the bottom, because we trying to show people and expose the grime so that they're not blind to what people are actually speaking on these platforms, because it's a lot of bull crap that's going on. And on these platforms, people only speaking about surface stuff. They ain't really digging in and like uprooting and showing you like where this stuff is coming from. You know what I'm saying?
You continue to speak your truth, and they're gonna be exposed automatically.
I'm with that, bro.
That's true.
That's what happens.
Yes.
You continue to stay focused, and and continue to dig away and chip away and peel away, and then they'll be exposed, because they're gonna be like, well, how did these guys come up here and get to the context when you've been playing around all this time, like a church?
Oh man. Whew. Well, this was a really, really deep episode. Oh man.
Deep, dope.
Yes, gems was dropped. So when you listen to this, you better listen to it about 3-4 times.
Right. y'all on the corner buying crack, but this the crack right here. Y'all buying the wrong product. Y'all in the drugstore.
That's the truth, man. Oh man. Well, this is your boy, Kemetic Energy. Let me say something real quick. That's my name on the show, but this isn't my store. Somebody asked me, yo, is that your store on WT Harris? No, my name on here is just Kemetic Energy. That's just my name. I'm still a student out here, and I'm still trying to learn. Prince is the man, not me. Okay? Just putting it out there.
It's your girl Golden.
Your boy Cray Nope.
This is Prince, and we would love to see people come through. We're giving all the stuff in the community to help prolong your life, the tonics, the herbs, the books. First and foremost, we are a bookstore, so you can come read about the literature, that we, learn about some of the products that we have in here, and this is culturally based. We have your uniforms in here ready for you. We have your jewelry in here ready for you. We have the warm welcoming from the people that, work with Kemetic Science in here ready for you. So we can't wait to see you.
Hey, most definitely. Hey, this is Dirty Mouth Radio, produced by Livewire Sound and Entertainment. Peace.
Peace.